Who is the best blitz chess player ever? Is it Alireza Firouzja, or is it a fight between Hikaru and Carlsen? Some chess fans consider American Grandmaster Hikaru Nakamura the greatest blitz player, while others consider Nowegian Giant and world champion Magnus Carlsen to be the best blitz chess player. To compare these two outstanding chess giants, one needs to take a closer look at their careers. For that reason, this video is going to dive into one of the games played between the two chess legends for World Blitz Championship title. Magnus vs Hikaru. The game starts out with the clock ticking down, but Magnus is nowhere to be seen. Magnus finally appears, but stakes are extremely high as he's already lost so much time on the clock. He arranges his pieces and the match begins. Magnus opens with d4. Now we have knight to f6. Knight to f3, we have d5. And bishop to f4. Magnus goes for the London system. We have c5, Nakamura goes for the same line as Vladimir Kramnik did in his last match against Magnus. We have e3 from Magnus, and e6 from Nakamura. Knight b to d2. Bishop to d6 offering a trade of dark square bishops. Magnus captures. Captures. And now to take Nakamura out of the book. D captures on c5, only one game in the database has this move, so why not use it against Hikaru in a 3-minute game? Queen captures on c5, and now c4. Here we have d captures on c4. Magnus continues to develop while developing pieces. Bishop captures on c4. Castles by Hikaru, and Magnus goes rook to c1, threatening all sorts of nasty discoveries. Queen back to e7 by Nakamura, and now Magnus just castles. We have b6 from Hikaru, preparing to fianchetto the bishop here to this beautiful diagonal. Magnus goes queen to e2, preparing the trade of bishop at a6. Bishop to b7, and now rook f to d1, so putting both rooks on the open files, and Nakamura still has to finish his development. Knight b to d7, and now bishop to a6 going after this light square bishop. Nakamura forces the trade with knight to c5, and here Magnus trades bishops. Queen captures. Now the queen occupies the diagonal and knight the e5 by Magnus. An excellent square for the knight, and Hikaru of course immediately wants to kick it away. Knight c to d7. And now comes a very important moment in the game. Magnus plays queen to f3. He offers a queen trade because the queen on b7 is undefended. You have to either trade or move the queen. And Nakamura does not want to play this position against Magnus. It's an equal position. One thing that's different is that black has this b-pawn pushed. So the c6 square is a bit weakened, but Nakamura does not see this interesting at all, to play against Magnus. So queen to a6, goes after the a2 pawn, and here Magnus goes knight to c6. And it's an incredible square for the knight, even at the price of the a2 pawn, because it covers all of the squares. Nakamura can't activate his rook. So you cannot go to c8 because of knight e7 check picking up the rook. So here you could go for queen captures on a8. But first Nakamura wants to get rid of this knight on e7. So king to h8. And now knight to c4 by Magnus. Now Magnus will put the other knight to d6, and then Magnus will have two monster knights, something you don't see very often. So queen captures an a2 by Nakamura. And now before going for this d6 outpost, first g4, Magnus wants to kick away the knight from f6 and then go knight to d6. And then put some pressure on f7. Both the knight and the queen will control f7, so here h6 doesn't really do anything for you because just g5 and you cannot capture. If you capture queen h2 check, king g8 and the knight e7 is mate, so not possible. So after g4, Nakamura goes knight to c5, clears the d7 square for the other knight. And first knight to d6. And now Carlsen's monster knights control all of the squares, and it is impossible to activate the rooks, and here Nakamura goes for knight to b3. Here Vladimir Kramnik called this move a desperado move. Magnus plays rook to c2, getting the rook out of the way. And now queen to a4 with a double attack on the pawn here, but also threatening some discoveries to expose the rook. So Magnus just kicks it away. Now we have rook to c4. And now queen to a6, and now if you look at the position, the two rooks are undeveloped, the knight is not doing all that much here. The queen on a6 not really participating in the game. Magnus pushes g5, and here there are problems after the knight moves, the f7 pawn becomes weak. Nakamura has to make a move and the time is ticking. He played knight to d7, but now Magnus shifts his attention to the king side. Rook to h4, here we have knight b to c5, getting the knight back into the game. But this doesn't work. Feel free to pause the video and try to find the winning move for Magnus while I give you a couple of seconds. It's a mate in 3, rook captures on h7 check, king captures, queen h5 check, king goes back, and now knight to e7 is mate. So this is how the game should end, but Magnus misses this. Remarkable, but even Magnus can miss this under such immense pressure. If he wins this match, he has all the 3 titles: World Classic Champion, Rapid Champion and Blitz Champion. Something he achieved only once in 2014. Knight captures on f7, instead Magnus goes for material, rook captures on f7 and now you have to capture it, if you don't capture, king g8. Then this is again mate, knight e7 checkmate, so rook captures on f7 and now queen captures on f7 grabbing the material. Queen to e2 was played by Nakamura. Went for the rook here. But just rook captures on d7 by Magnus, with knight captures on d7, and now queen captures on d7, so now Magnus is up a piece. Rook f8 going after the f2 pawn. But now Magnus plays the only move that wins for white, which is rook to f4 just blocks in this rook. After rook to f4 Nakamura resigned and Magnus wins the World Blitz Championship as well. So there you have it, that's what a perfect warrior looks like. World Class Championship, winning the World Rapid Championship and winning the World Blitz Championship, something that Magnus achieved twice already in 2014 and now in 2019.